Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Tuesday, August 19th, or September 19th, 2023. Sitting in for Paul Harvey this morning. Stand by for a special, the rest of the story. Well, today's story is on Dick Hornberger. This story was done by Mr. Harvey and resubmitted with Mr. Harvey's original story and comments by Mr. Dyson, Bryce Dyson, here on YouTube. And Mr. Dyson does a good job. And I'm doing it for a third time. Excuse me, Mr. Dyson, but your comments were right on the money, but you forgot one thing. And I hope you understand why I did this. I'm not going to reintroduce the story of Mr. Harvey. They can go back and watch yours. You did a better job on doing that than I do. But Mr. Hornberger here, Dick Hornberger. He was born in Trenton, New Jersey in 1924, and he died in Portland, Maine in 1997. And he was a surgeon. Very locally renowned surgeon, not really nationally notarized. And, he was doing everything 100%, and everything came out roses for him, except for one. He had a good family. He was known as a good provider, a good family man, an excellent surgeon of repute too. But on one thing in his life, he was a miserable failure. Miserable, oh boy. And I tip my hat to both, or all three of you, Dr. Hornberger, may you rest in peace up there with Mr. Harvey, and Mr. Dyson, for understanding what Mr. Hornberger was. Richard Hornberger, first name was H. Richard Hornberger because it was hard to pronounce. Hister, I don't know. I don't want to pronounce it because I don't want to crucify somebody's name, but it was H. Richard Hornberger Jr. And he was good at everything. He would work 60 to 70 hours, and sometimes you'll find him with a cot next to his patient. He was that devoted of a doctor. But he still, number one in his life was his family. Number two, doctor. And number three was the story he wanted to get people out there about a period in his life, 3 years. And that he became an absolute failure at. Oh boy. And you guys from Ancient Aliens can understand. Another guy that ran through that same problem was Eric Van Doniken with his Chariots of the Gods. He was an author. And he could relate to Mr. Hornberger too, who was trying to be an author, but unlike Mr. Hornberger, who used a pseudonym to try to get this done, pen name, Mr. Eric Van Doniken used his original full name. And academia, came back viciously at Mr. Van Doniken since 1968. Vicious. From 1968 to 88, oh, were they vicious. Well, poor Mr. Hornberger here, he did bits and pieces here, bits and pieces there, and finally he got his book. So he went to his publisher, and they tried, or his agent, to try to get publishers to publish it. One publisher, two, no, three, no, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, no, 11, 12, 13, no, 14, no, 15, no, 16, no, 17, no. And his agent, you must understand this agent, Dick, I'm sorry to say this, but the next one is going to be the last one. I'm sorry to do this, but I got no choice. Well, maybe he looked at the book, the Guinness Book of World Records, and figured number 18 is going to be another failure, and we could probably get into the Guinness of World Records if we keep on going here. Yeah, okay. Well, number 18 turned to be not a failure. And this book was on its way. And you see, poor Dick Hornberger, he got drafted. And those of you who have got drafted know what I mean about getting that draft card, right? Most of you are in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They don't do drafts anymore. It's an all-volunteer force. But remember draft? And there was nothing you could do unless you wanted to face the firing squad for desertion or go into Canada. Well, this was the 1950. And you know that it wasn't the Vietnam a decade later where people did go to Canada. Mr. Hornberger, he was loyal to a T to his country. I'll go. Gotta save people. So he went. And he served 3 years, 1950 to 53. Yes, Americans, the Korean War, as you called it. The United States calls it a police action. And by the way, back in July of this year, 70 years ago, you signed an armistice, and the war's not over. Poor Mr. Hornberger, he is long gone and rest in peace. And the war is still going on today. And the three parties are getting together again. North Korea, China, and Russia. So, this is the part of the story that Mr. Dyson didn't get you. And Mr. Hornberger, his story was considered, the women won't accept this. Or it's too dicey for people. They don't want to read stuff like that. They want love stories. Yeah. They don't want to see blood and gore. And what do you got? What do you mean by comedy and humor in a war zone? What? I guarantee you there was some of that in World War II too. You guys from World War II, you know you had it. You had to be. You had to have something to get yourself back to being sane. So did those guys in Korea had to do it. And Hornberger is just writing what he saw, what he experienced. So his book was finally published. And his name was changed to protect the innocent, like Dragnet. I wonder how many other names were changed to protect the innocent. Right, Mr. Hornberger? So you see, Mr. Hornberger, Dr. H. Richard Hornberger Jr., or I should say H. Richard Hawkeye Hornberger Jr. Yes, Hawkeye, I said. For you see, Americans, he was the original Hawkeye Pierce of MASH, which is the book he wrote, MASH. He had this equal bad time trying to do the movie. Nobody wanted it. Now the series, with Aldalda as Hawkeye Pierce and Loretta Swip as Hot Lips Houlihan, and to start with, McLean Stevenson as the original commander. Remember him? Yeah. But the guy that made MASH, besides Hawkeye Pierce. And I haven't read Mr. Hornberger's book, okay? I never did. I never wanted to read it. Because I saw the movie and I saw the series. And I saw what he put in it. But if there was a Colonel Potter, between him and McLean Stevenson with Colonel Blake, those two and Hawkeye Pierce and Hot Lips made the show. And the minor characters. Oh, I loved Radar and I loved Klinger. But the guy that stole the show to me was Father Mulcahy. For you see, Americans, it's the book that tells you everything. And it's a series that tried to make the book. It's not like the book because they took a lot of things off, I'm assuming. I haven't read the book, I don't. Mr. Dyson probably has. Paul Harvey did. But now you know the rest of the story. A failure that turned out to be a diamond in the rough. Sitting in for both Mr. Paul Harvey and Mr. Dyson. This is your favorite alien. Good day.